Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
5-on-5. Brower with a long shot. Rebound. Oh, what a save! Luongo just robbed Ben Eager. That's unbelievable. Alexander Semin now. Back to Hammerlick. On the other side, Brooks Light takes the shot. Deflected. Rebound. Great save. Luongo on Ovechkin.
Like it was yesterday.
Oh,
isn't that great?
The best.
Jim Hughson going to the BC Sports Hall of Fame. He'll join us in a matter of seconds here. A reminder that all of today's guests are brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. They're back home after the Prairie road trip. They take on Prince Albert. The Raiders on Saturday. Jim Hughson joins us now, the pride of Fort St. John. Congratulations, Jim, and thanks for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome. It's you guys again.
It is. Yeah.
My booking agent told me there was a guest host.
Yeah.
Maybe next time. Your reaction. Go ahead.
We can have the CJDC CKNL reunion.
Yes.
Well, we kind of do.
How often does that happen? The three guys who came through those two little places that don't even exist anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Together, we should be at the Fort Hotel having a beer.
Okay, so for people who don't know, and again, congratulations getting into the BC Sports Hall of Fame. Where did it all start for you, Jim? I understand it was in your hometown of Fort St. John.
Yeah, I was. So I was really into the theater department in high school, and we did radio plays on Sunday afternoons. We would just there was probably two people, maybe family members, but not likely, that listened to them. But the station manager actually listened in a couple of times and knew everybody in town. It's like 6,000 people there. So Gene Daniel was the guy around the place, and he asked me if I wanted a part-time job reading the news and weather and doing stuff like working the weekends and minding the tapes, because most of the weekend was all on tape on the radio station at that time. Mm-hmm. So that's how I started. I started working part-time at the radio station, and then when I went off to university, I found it didn't pay very well. So I went back and started full-time at CKNL, Northern Lights Broadcasting in Fort St. John, where I eventually became sports director, which meant I was the only guy in the place that knew a puck from a football.
Well, that's what I tell people about myself at Doster. I was the sports director, also known as the only guy in the department.
So was I.
Exactly.
So was I.
Exactly. So when Mike Gray was his name, he got a job in Edmonton. Everybody that worked in places like that, in CJDC or CKNL, everybody was looking for another job. Because like nobody was making any money. So you're trying to make $50 more a month and move up in the business. And Mike got a job in Edmonton, and I was it. I got the sports department. I was the sports director.
Yeah.
But I also had a sales route. I also read the news and did the weather and filled in on everything else that you could fill in on. And it was a fantastic experience. It was just, I would never trade that. And it's sad that those places aren't there anymore.
Very sad.
And learn the business, like every part of it. I went out and did sales. I'd go out and make a sales call, and then I'd come back and I'd write the copy. And then I'd voice the ad, mix it, and put it on the air. And I did news. I did the stock market quotation. It's just you name it. We had a chance to do everything in those places.
And then on to eventually, after a couple of other stops, on to Hockey Night in Canada. CKNW, I remember you there as well. But the Expos, Blue Jays, Olympics, 5 Geminis. Who did you look up to, Jim? Who were the broadcasters that you looked up to?
Well, I would tell you that yesterday, when they made the announcements of the class of 25 at the BC Sports Hall of Fame, the best part of that event was the fact that Jim Robson was there. He was a mentor, a colleague, and is a great friend, and that made it a truly Hall of Fame day for me. So he set the standard. He set a bar in Vancouver that has been there for a long time and has made he is the reason that the quality of broadcasts at places like CKNW and the quality of Vancouver Canuck broadcasts have always been as good as they have been because you had to live up to the standard of Robson. So I always looked up to him. In fact, in those days at CKNL in Fort St. John, one of my jobs on many a winter night was to rebroadcast the Canuck games. We were on the Canucks radio network, and I would sit and plug in the commercials. So I listened to Robson all the time, and I plugged in the commercials. It was the same with Jim Cox. I did the Lions football game.
Yeah.
I plugged in the commercials. That's how and I'm sure that, there was subliminally, there was probably some of that led to my desire to be a broadcaster.
Jim, so many BC boys, so many special moments doing Canuck games. What are some of the special ones that you'll always remember?
You know what? It's interesting, Rick, because I always get asked the question about what's your favorite moment or what's your and in the time you're doing it, I don't think, I certainly didn't ever really think in that context. Yeah. You just, you slog it out, you do the games, you work 200 events a year, you do, and try and be your best at all of them. And it's only after the fact that you sort of look back and think, well, that was pretty cool to be a part of that. You don't really get a chance to think that way in the moment. At least I didn't, because you're always thinking about what flight do I have to catch tomorrow and where do I have to be the next event you have to do. So there have been some beauties, and the Canucks weren't particularly good when I came back, because I came back shortly after '94, and you guys know what happened. And we went into the new building shortly thereafter, and they had good players, but they weren't a good team. Like, they had really good players. They had Pavel Bure and Al McGillney, a litany of really good players, but they were not a very good team. So there weren't an awful lot of great memories in those days, except that I got a chance to be around some of those people and around some of the players and around the coaches, and those are probably better memories that I have. In a broader picture, as the time went on, one of the best team I probably ever watched play the game was the 2014 Canadian Olympic team that won in Sochi. That is the best hockey team I've ever seen play the game. There was never, even in close games that they played, and they had a few of them in that tournament, even in the close games, there was never any doubt in my mind that they were going to win. They were so good and so professional. It was machine-like.
When you're good locally, the national guys come calling, and boy, did they come calling for you. Hockey Night in Canada, Olympic Games, Blue Jays, World Series. How fun was that?
It's just, again, you get into the tunnel of doing it all the time, and like I would say the worst thing that happens in all of that time is once a year you get a letter from a hotel chain that says, "Congratulations, you've reached super duper elite status. You just spent 182 nights in our hotels this year." And you just feel like a complete and utter loser. I didn't know that I was away that much. But in the moment of doing all that stuff, it's incredibly enjoyable. And there's not. I didn't feel like there was a lot of stress involved in it. Yeah, there's some preparation to be done. There's a lot of that. You don't want to mess up. And in the beauty of all of that is in 40 plus years in broadcasting games in 6 different decades, everything was live. It was, that, and that's the beauty of it. You don't get a chance for a do-over. You mess up, fess up, carry on. And I loved that part of it. And so, and if you love sports, and I always have, I've played, and goodness knows I wish I was going into the Hall of Fame because of my ability to play some of these games. But that was not to be the case. So if you enjoy it and it's so much fun to sit down and watch a really good hockey game and try and describe it to somebody, to do a good, crisp baseball game on a wonderful fall day when the team's in contention. There's nothing like that. I always tease Buck Martinez, who's a great friend of mine who I worked with in the Blue Jay days, that in the years that I broadcast the Blue Jays, I never broadcast a meaningless game.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And in baseball, that is something because they were so good. They were in contention or won every year that I broadcast them. And so I didn't have any of those days like they had this year, for example, where on the 5th of July that the team is done. There's only 102 games left. Yeah, you got to broadcast them all. So by and large, it's just been great fun.
Yeah, and Jim, just the ability to do baseball and hockey at that level, such different feels to that sport. Very, very quick, those sports. Very, very quickly, Jim, just how you retired and still a young guy, 2021. How much do you miss it?
Never. Don't live that way. I think, for me anyway, when you make a decision like that and decide to move on, there's a finality to it. Carry on, live your life, get on with it. So it doesn't mean I don't love the games, and I still watch very closely. I love watching the Canucks, especially when they win. I still watch baseball, don't miss football. I'll watch soccer. I'd watch tiddlywinks if I don't know the result. Yeah. That's just kind of the sports fan that I am. But I don't miss slogging off to the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning and flying across the country and living in a hotel and being away from my family. And that's the sacrifice you make to be in the industry. Made it, wouldn't trade it, loved it. But I'm happy to sit in front of the TV. And now when the game is really crappy, I can turn it off.
Well, you don't miss it, but we miss you. And Jim, congratulations again. All the best.
Thank you, guys. Really nice to be with you.